2:36. All right, welcome to my FX Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there are multiple mediums on which you can enjoy this content. But the best one, in my opinion, and the one you're gonna want to use today, is the blog, because we got videos, we got snippets off the TV. What else? We got WTO. What else? Digital technology. We got some stuff about the neighbor. So you're going to want to go to the blog. And there's no way I'm going to be able to cover all the articles for today. But there's some that I definitely will focus on. All right. So how do you get to the blog? Great question. Oh. Why don't you hit that thumbs up button? Hey, because I know you're going to like this. Anyway, the blog is parked at myfxbuddies.blogspot.com, but that's a lot to remember or to type in. So, wherever you are engaging with this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. Hold on, forgive me. Something of that nature. You click on that and either a box pops down or something moves to the side or whatever, but it'll say link to my FX Buddies, or it'll have the link. You click on that and you get to the blog, the free blog. You don't have to put your email in. I'm not selling you gold. I'm not selling you coffee, jewelry, nothing. Just articles. The articles from Iraqi News. All right, so let's get into it. Today's Monday. All of these articles are from Monday. It's early enough where if I don't dilly-dally, they'll be uploaded as of today's also. All right, so Iraq goes digital again with the digital. Yes, I know, but it is, that's their focus right now. They're trying to get people to go digital. Trillions settled electronically in 2025. And look, we still have, I forgot how many days are left, but we still have more time. And if the Iraqis have money, and if things are well, they spend a lot of money during the end of the year because there's holidays. They go all out for New Year's Eve. And there's another holiday right around when we do Christmas. They do something else, and there's other groups there. Well, they do Christmas, and they do that pretty big as well. But because there's Christians there. But anyway, so I suspect there'll be even billions more settled electronically. But if they let this rate go and do what we're waiting for, then the sky would be the limit. Okay, but so here's the experts say digital transformation is essential to enhance financial performance and combat corruption. And guess what happened today? What happened today? Amazon went down, right? It's called AWS, and I forget what the W stands for. But so it was, I'm fairly certain that's what caused their outage, right? But it was so early in the morning for me, and I wasn't affected with anything. Well, the YouTube wasn't working as quickly as I like, but that didn't last long. And so then when I saw that article, anyway, we can skip all of that. Okay. So this is interesting. It says here the pillar of the Emirate. There it is. The pillar of the Emirate, Iraqi banks, are making significant strides in the digital transformation race driven by increasing competition in the financial sector, while fintech companies are offering innovative and rapid solutions. Experts consider the digitization of the banking sector a natural consequence of the comprehensive digitization of the economy and a gateway to improving financial performance and enhancing transparency. So, there it is, all that stuff. So, they had Mahmoud Dagher. Who is he? He's not just an economic expert. He used to work at the CBI. I forget what his position was there, but he did. He described the digital transformation as an important gateway to developing the banking sector, right? Settling payments and improving the financial performance of the national economy. And as he spoke with the news, he added, since 2023, the government has focused on developing electronic payment activity by promoting point-of-sale systems, barcodes, smartphones, digital payment transition tools. This has led to the electronic settlement of trillions of dinars and the tangible start of the digital transformation process. So then they go on to talk more about that. Then they bring in another expert, and he again says, hey, we got to do this. We got to do this digital transformation. It's an urgent necessity to keep pace with the rest of the world, noting that automating routine processes reduces time and human error. You're right. Okay, so there's more of what he said. And they emphasize that the government's continued development of a comprehensive strategic plan to address challenges will be pivotal. And that's a word they use a lot right now, right? Because they are pivoting from traditional banking to digital, right? Pivotal to the success of the digital transformation, noting that there's a clear will to enhance and accelerate this transformation despite the unstable circumstances. So they're acknowledging, I know over here they're loud and proud and saying we're stable and we're secure. But yeah, we still got some unstable stuff, right? Okay, so this was something I didn't get a chance to talk about yesterday. So while the other delegations were in America bragging to the world about everything, the Vision 2050 and all the wonderful things they've done, the foreign minister, Fuad Hussein, he was over in the EU basically doing the same thing. And this man is in his 80s. He might even be closer to 90, but I know he's in his 80s, and he's been to 4 different countries. Well, the EU, the countries are all together, right? But so here, European Union, we support Iraq's transition to economic and investment recovery. Yay! Have they recovered? Somewhat, right? So here they are, not a big group, but there they were. Here's Fuad Hussein, who actually I think is the shortest person. Oh, maybe not. There's some people, they're on stairs though. But anyway, so he's been over there talking to all kinds of people over there. So Iraq and the EU affirmed on Monday their commitment to continuing constructive dialogue on all common issues and supporting the country's transition from the security recovery phase to economic and investment recovery. And there's more here if you'd like to read about that. There's a video, which there I did it again. I put the link instead of embedding it. So when this is live, the embedded video will be there so you can watch it. He says, we're not going to be any part of war. Ho, wait, hold up, lady. There's a lady that asks, he and this lady right here, like one question, but it had like 8 questions in it. And they did good. They remembered all the questions and responded. So here he says we are ready to export more oil to Europe, and he speaks English, which I know Sadani speaks English. I know he does. But he, when he gets interviewed, he speaks his language. All right. So there's all this. There's a lot of news here, but I don't have time to cover it. Because as much as that's in this blog today, we could be here for an hour. But I'm not going to do that to you. So here, Iraq between debt figures and economic reality, a reading of stability, indicators, and sources of concern. So this I love this picture. This might be the thumbnail. But anyway, so they're talking about the debt again, right? More. And basically it talks about, well, these are the numbers, but in reality, right? I'll read this here. Here's my buddy, the douche, right? The issue of cash reserves, which the douche described as a double-edged sword, was not absent from the scene, as Iraq has foreign reserves amounting to $61 billion, including $11 billion in American bonds, covering more than 9 months of imports, which enhances the stability of the Iraqi dinar and market confidence, but at the same time makes Iraq vulnerable to fluctuations in American financial policies. So there again, more talk about the Iraqi dinar being stable or not. There's more talk about the non-oil revenues, their gradual economic reform. What's the other thing? The exchange rate. All throughout here, all throughout these articles, is more discussion on all of that. Here, the central bank Iraq's public debt is lower than that of the U.S. and several other Arab countries. So they're like, keep messing with us. Keep trying to bring up this. And Egypt, Algeria, and Morocco. And Morocco was just there making deals with them too. Let's see. So they talk about the favor. Again, they talk about Paris Club debt, not the climate Paris Club. This is Paris Club debt that was waived. They talk about Japan, all kinds of stuff. So lots of information there for those who like that type of information. Iraq's internal debt in numbers from currency printing to the 3-year budget. So this focuses on another set of things, why they had issues. They go back to the is years, then the cerveza sickness. If anyone knows, if you listen to George Gammon, you know what cerveza sickness is, right? So they talk about those years. And then here I bolded our time, the time that we're here now. And yeah, so if you want to read that, I think it's blue. It's not bolded actually. It's blue or purple. All right. Minister of Commerce launching a comprehensive investment plan to develop the private sector and diversify the national economy. So there again, diversifying, which is what non-oil income or non-oil revenue, which is what the IMF and the World Bank want to see. There's even an article that I did not put here. Doggone it. Hold on. Okay, I keep forgetting to show you guys this. 2 days in a row, they had articles about Kuwait, the Kuwaiti dinar. The first day, the note they used was a $100 note. The next one, the title of this, listen to the title. The dinar breaks the back of the pound and the dollar, but it's the Kuwaiti dinar. And this is a 10 note. See? Why? Why would they do that? Why would they put that? Why all of a sudden do they need to know so much about Kuwait? It trades regularly at $3.60 and 2 something to the pound. So I'm going to put this. I'll put this at the bottom for those who want to see this because I keep forgetting. But I will, okay? So sorry about that. I jumped around, but I really wanted to get that. Okay. So now back to our program. So here in this article, what does it end with? Another economic expert concluded the statement by the Ministry of Trade believes that the private sector is the true engine of economic growth and that empowering it represents the cornerstone for building a diversified and sustainable economy capable of facing challenges, providing job opportunities, and enhancing economic stability in Iraq. And for those of you who don't know, as long as I've been in this, they've talked about activating the private sector as long as they've talked about changing the rate. So somehow I believe the two are connected. Maybe the laws that are waiting to be approved and put in the Gazette, and those laws need the new rate, or maybe the new rate needs those laws. All of it is tied together, right? So yeah, but they're amping up. They're amping up. All right, here's another article. Despite the limited announced height, and I don't know what that means, but here's the part that's important. Economist warns inflation is devouring the purchasing power of Iraqis. And so here's another article. They keep telling them, oh, inflation is the lowest it's been. And they're like, tell my pocketbook that. Tell my bank account that. So here, strengthening market control and improving exchange rate management to ensure the price stability. What would do that? Containing inflation, right? And here they use the word erosion. So look at the terminology they use. Devouring, erosion, right? Those are pretty serious. There's no matter what language you say those types of terms in, right? It leaves nothing to the imagination. They broke. They can't buy things. All right. Or they're experiencing a bit of a cash crunch. There's another way to put it for you other people. Okay. What do they say? The thing that Kevin Hart said. See, the thing about my bank account, I got savings and I got to transfer it to the checking. All right. So here's another thing. An economist calls for the establishment of a government bank to guarantee depositors' funds. You're right. Good luck with that, right? They got government banks that they don't trust, right? But hey, at least he's trying. And he says, hey, because of the cash liquidity crisis, there's a lack of confidence of the citizens in the safety of their deposited funds. This has led many to do what? Store large sums of money, whether in Iraqi dinars or foreign currencies, at home instead of depositing them in banks. So he also called for, so there's more, but we're running out of time. He called for raising the interest rate on fixed and floating deposits to encourage citizens to deal with the formal banking system instead of keeping their money, that's my phone, keeping their money outside the economic cycle. All right, here's another, Iraq Vision 2050. So this is after the announcements and all the spotlight they had on them. This is, geez Louise, his name didn't come again. It either brings his picture or his name, but it rarely brings both. Well, he's another smart guy. And he's the government's launch of Iraq's Vision 2050 at this opportune time, despite its delay. Yeah, we know it's delayed. You don't have to tell us. Represents a bold step in light of the significant challenges facing the Iraqi economy. All right, so there's more about that. He says he wants to do a study of something, and somehow he ties Saudi Arabia's success. Because they did theirs, but I don't think they're at the point where you can compare Iraq to Saudi Arabia, right? Saudi Arabia is established. They're still a kingdom. Iraq is a republic, right? So, yeah, I don't know. But he says there's got to be a starting point. Partnership between public and private sectors, all that So the parts that I liked, I put in blue. But I do like this. He says, we must move forward and complete the journey, not return to the way we have done, erasing what our ancestors have built. All right, here's, oh, I think this, okay, I put this here twice, so we'll delete that. All right, so now, this was the urgent breaking news yesterday. Okay, this article here with these diamond points, this is really good. You should read this article. So remember they made that envoy? They made an envoy yesterday. His name is Mark. Okay, look what they have his last name is. But here in America, his last name is, oh, there's the train. His name is Mark Savaya. He's a Rocky Chaldean that's Christian. He has caused a stir. They're calling him a drug dealer. He does sell marijuana, but the legal kind. I've had a good time. I'm just gonna say this. I had a good time reading maybe 20 articles about this guy today. He helped in the last election. He assisted the winning team, right? By going to Michigan. You know who's in Michigan, right? And being like the liaison between the winning team and them, and probably got the results. Well, because a lot of them voted, which at first if you don't know, they all had a pact because they were not going to vote. They weren't going to vote for either person that was presented to them because of the strip, right? What was going on. But this guy, he went in there and told what, the promises that the new U.S. president made. And they really give him a lot of credit to have success. So do you hear what I'm saying? Election, Muslims, winning team. Yeah, now he's an envoy in Iraq when they're about to have an election. And they're Muslims. Do you see what I'm saying without saying it? Yeah, but the interesting thing is, some people don't like him because of that. The framework does not like him. So you'll see, I have here, he must be an okay guy. I put, maybe he is a good guy if they don't want him. The framework rejects the nomination of the U.S. president's envoy. So they talked about it in German news, London news, places where there's a good sized Arab and Muslim population. Yeah, this guy has caused a stir. And look at this. What do you see there? There he is. And he's with the new U.S. president. And what are they doing? Thumbs up. So, but now, guess who does like him? Sadani. Well, at least Sadani said he's proud that he's been chosen because he is I tried to write it down. But because he's, Iraqi descent, and he wishes him much success. So Sadani had nothing but good things to say about him. So maybe he is going to work to help Sadani get his second term. All right, if you'd like to support me, my FX buddies, here's the way to do it. Big or small, I appreciate it all, and I thank you in advance for your generosity, because we're running out of time. So I'll skip that, but the links are always somewhere, right? Okay, so here we go. Energy expert. 70% of the articles of the oil and gas law have been agreed upon. So no, it has not passed. Okay, I know, I think someone out there said it's been passed. It's not. Much of it has been, and now here this person, he's Representative Basim, I don't know. He expressed his deep regret on Monday over the failure to enact the oil and gas law during the current parliamentary session. The oil and gas law is one of the strategic laws that was supposed to be passed several sessions ago. How about several years ago? Yeah. So how about back in 2007? But anyway, so, but they're just waiting, right? Waiting for simultaneous things to happen, right? And so here, for those of you who like to follow them on the World Trade Organization, there's 2 articles. Iraq's negotiations to join the WTO, World Trade Organization, are ongoing. There's a long one. There's a short one. Iraq continues negotiations to join the World Trade Organization. All right. Let's see. We're almost done. Keeping a small contingent of U.S. forces, which are advisors. No. They're not combat ready. They're not soldiers. They're advisors, right? Due to is threat in Syria. This is Sadani saying this. I don't know if that's gonna help him or hurt him. But yeah, he came out and said that. And they also had another look at this. Now, if I'm seeing this right, those curtains back there are purple or magenta, burgundy, something like that, right? Look at these pillars. Looks like a movie theater, right? And there he is giving a speech, and they did this tonight. He and the president both spoke. 100-year celebration of them having a constitution. See, 1925. Very nice speech again. Nice words, all the things we love to hear. And so here's some information about the neighbor. The neighbor central bank is also increasing their gold reserves. Why would they do that? To promote financial independence, strengthen national currency. Even though I know we've been told don't get our hopes up. Yeah, I thought that this was interesting. Plus, it says diversifying the reserve asset basket is a key objective of the new policy. And remember, Kuwait is pegged to a basket, right? And some people think that they're going to switch the Iraqi dinar to be pegged to that basket, right? We don't know. Yeah, so if you want to read that it's not that long, and then I bolded what I felt was important. And we've been missing the Khomeini, but he came out and had some usual words for him, right? Listen to this. These are the nicer words that he said. The supreme leader from the neighbor, right? The U.S. president boasts of destroying our extremely large projectiles, right? They have an industry, right? Okay. So he brags of destroying their industry. Let him continue in his delusion. He's like, our projectiles are still intact. You see right here? So if you want to read that, you can. All right, so we'll close out with, this is a great CNBC interview, 6 minutes, mostly focuses on the economy. So if you want to hear that, when this blog is live, you could click this and it'll play. And for those of you, I know some people like to hear the articles, but they don't like to read them. You go to the blog and you scroll all the way down to the bottom. But, so they had that show. Remember I told you they have a show that's called Dinar. Well, it was on today. It was on 3 times today. And so these are some of the things that flashed across the screen. This was one of the guys talking. He said the Central Bank of Iraq is trying to promote the international market for Iraqi investors. He said Iraqi private investors have achieved a lot on the reform plan of the central bank and make that a little. Central Bank and Oliver Wyman set Iraq consumer performance standards. So yeah, this is what they're telling them. They're talking about this on the TV all day and all night for at least a month now, right? So they're gonna keep doing that and not give them stronger purchasing power. I don't see it. But at the same time, every day we get closer to the election, looks less and less like it's gonna happen though. But I know there's people in the comments and you guys are very encouraging and you tell me believe and don't let the news and stuff sway me. I'm still optimistic October, but I just like to point out to you what they're telling their people, at least what they let us see, right? What they put in articles. But they're pretty much putting, hey, we're looking at your purchasing power, right? This is the most I think I've seen them talk about the exchange rate and purchasing power ever at the same time. So that's all good. That is all good. All right, so I hope you liked this episode. I know it had a lot again, and that's not even everything. There was still other stuff, but that's the most important stuff. The stuff I like to put out that is good and hopeful and helps you not give up. All right, so again, I ask you to hit the thumbs up if you didn't already. Subscribe if you like. I know right now the little icon is in the right-hand corner. You click on it, tap it, whatever. Do the notifications and hit all. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Don't miss any meals. Pay all your bills. Thank you for your support, your comments, your encouragement. I appreciate it all. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content, and until tomorrow.